The White Bear Area Chamber of Commerce and On Location TV 19 are proud to present Your Business Matters, dedicated to your business needs. The White Bear Area Chamber is a nonprofit business organization serving as an advocate for the White Bear area and its business community. Now here is the Executive Director of the White Bear Area Chamber and the host of Your Business Matters, Tom Snell.
I want to welcome everybody to the White Bear Area Chamber of Commerce Your Business Matters program. And I'm really interested today that we have Dr. Michael Lovett, the superintendent for the White Bear Area School District. And thank you very much for coming on our program today.
Tom, thank you. It's good to be here.
Great, great. What I want to do is I'm going to talk a little bit today about the district, some of the things that you're doing, and then at the end, towards the end of our interview, we'll discuss the levy issue. First, to get kind of an idea about the breadth of the district, how many students do you have, and what communities does the White Bear Area School District cover?
A good place to start, Tom. We have about 8,500 students pre-K through grade 12 in our schools. And we actually serve all or part of 10 different communities.
Okay.
North to most of Hugo, south to a little bit of Maplewood, east to Birchwood, White Bear Lake, White Bear Township, and then west to most of Vadnais Heights and to about the eastern one-third of North Oaks.
Now, the school district, do you have areas in the population among students that are growing and shrinking?
Well, none of the children are shrinking. All children are
growing. I understand that. Yeah, the age groups.
If we were to look at our district overall, the northern part of the district is growing much more quickly than the southern.
That would be Hugo?
That would be Hugo.
Okay.
In fact, very interesting. This year we opened up with 635 kindergarten students, which was 7% above our projections. And the leading reason for the growth was the northern part of our district, where at Hugo Elementary we have 160 kindergarten students. So demographically, we're showing stable enrollment or slow growth. The northern part of the district, the Hugo area, a little bit of Lino, that northern part has new homes, younger families. The southern part of the district, we have more senior citizens.
That's right.
And so we know that over the next 5 to 10 years, it's fairly likely that some of those more senior citizens may make other choices about where to live, and we want to make sure that we're welcoming to families with younger children.
How do you figure out what is going to happen with the school district like 5 years from now? That must be a kind of a challenging way to plan things, like should you grow and add more class size? Should you shrink? What are some of the things that you have to go into in order to figure out exactly where the school district might end up, let's say, in a decade from now?
Well, I'll do 3 ways we do that.
Okay.
One is that we look at birth trends over time. That is, we analyze the portion of Washington County, Anoka County, and Ramsey County births that come to White Bear Lake. So we're always looking at the percentage 5 years later they're going to kindergarten. That's one easy way to do it, and that trend tends to be fairly stable.
Okay.
Secondly, we work closely with the state demographer, Tom Gillespie. I've had a long-term working relationship with Dr. Gillespie, and it's important for us to understand not just what has happened over the last 5 years, but what he sees as some of the bigger trends.
Okay.
And so getting a state perspective is very helpful. Third, we talk to our member communities. For example, we have conversations with the planning staff on our different communities. What do they think is going to happen? What, for example, in the Hugo area, are we likely to have a leveling off of building, or do we anticipate additional home starts? So we need to continue to pay attention to those dynamics and to pay attention to the national and state economy, because all of those will have big effects on the future.
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to get into the discussion right now about the levy, but one of the things that I heard recently is that at least in the White Bear community, not counting Hugo, that the population, the number of households that do not have children is actually a significant majority. And that wasn't the case, obviously, back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And what does a school district do to position themselves in a marketplace where maybe there aren't as many young families moving in or coming into the area?
Right. Overall, about 20% of our voters, registered voters, have children in schools.
Just 20%?
20%. So that
Okay.
means that 80% of our residents to support a levy or to support the schools have to believe that they're also getting good value for what's going on. And that 20% is pretty typical of in the Twin Cities
Okay.
today and in Minnesota today. So it's not an unusual statistic. But it means that our whole community needs to value what we're doing. And we work hard to invite our senior citizens, our other community members to our school events, to our sporting events, to our musicals, to our plays.
Sure.
And we work hard to build the trust of our community. They need to know that we're using the resources very well, and we want them to be proud of the achievements of the students within their community.
That's great. Now, also, I know that the state of Minnesota has what's called open enrollment, and so districts can provide certain types of opportunities for students to get them to come back and forth between different school districts. Do you think what are some of the things that the White Bear School District has that you think are unique and vibrant, not putting down any other school district, but just some things that you think that you offer that are very attractive to families and for students in the various area?
Okay, I'll start off with what I think are the most factual, easy to compare,
Okay.
and then I'll do some intangibles.
Okay, that'd be
that
great.
I
That'd
think
be
important.
good. Thank you.
First of all, if families were to look at the performance of students, I think that they would find that White Bear Lake right now is in the top 1, 2, or 3 in terms of performance in the East Metro area.
Okay.
So first of all, they know that students are going to be doing well in the White Bear Lake area schools. Secondly, we're a district of a size at 8,500 students
Right.
that can offer a fairly broad selection of courses.
Okay.
So at the high school level, for example, students have 30 different college credit courses that
30?
they can select.
Good,
That's highest in the area. And that doesn't cost us more money to offer it, but it means that right now better than 50% of our students are actually taking college credits during the high school years. So that's really unmatched in this area.
Are these college credits that are good at a number of institutions?
Well, yes, we really have 2 categories.
Okay.
15 of them are credits to the advanced placement program. That is, students take an advanced placement course, and if they score high enough, then they will get credits pretty much in any college across the nation. The other 15 are all through the University of Minnesota. 11 of the 15 are what are called college in the schools courses. And if students complete that course, they automatically get a credit at the University of Minnesota, which they can transfer anywhere.
Wonderful.
The final 4, the most recent 4, are part of our STEM initiative called Project Lead the Way, and those are more hands-on. They're biomedical engineering, introduction to engineering. In those 4 classes, students take a test at the end to qualify for University of Minnesota credit.
What we're going to do here, we're going to take a real quick break, and then we'll be back in just a minute with Dr. Michael Lovett from the White Bear Area School District.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Community TV.
I'm Network TV. What are you doing with all the network's equipment?
Actually, this all belongs to the community station. Settle down.
What could you possibly do with all this?
It's not just for me. Many members of our community use this stuff to produce their own shows.
Produce their own shows? Each year, Network spends billions of dollars producing high-quality content. We could never afford to trust the likes of you with our equipment. They don't even let me touch that stuff.
Trust me, with a few lessons, anyone can make TV.
Anyone? Could I hold one of those cameras?
Sure.
Sweet!
Welcome back. We're with Dr. Michael Lovett from the White Bear Area School District, and we were talking about some of the advanced placement programs and some of the other venues that you have for what are typically called gifted and talented programs. So if you could just kind of go on with some of the things that you were describing earlier.
Thank you, Tom. I think I pointed out, first of all, that we're getting excellent results
Right.
with our students. And I talked a little bit about the high school programs,
Right.
the 30 college credit offerings. At the elementary school, in addition to a very rigorous curriculum, we have what we call the REACH program, which is a program that between 15 and 20% of the students qualify for to give enhanced support in mathematics or in reading and literature. We're actually really evaluating that program right now. Have a study group of parents and staff that are looking to make improvements in that program to make sure that we can
Wonderful.
offer the best gifted and talented program in the area, just in how we do things and how we serve the individual needs of students and families.
Do you think that those types of programs are really good ways to attract certain types of people to the community to enhance your school district offerings?
Tom, I do. I think parents want to count on two things. They want to know that the school that their child is in, first of all, will build the fundamental skills, that their students will become proficient in reading, writing, mathematics. But they also want to know that their child will be challenged.
Right.
For example, we find that 30% of our incoming sixth graders are ready for advanced mathematics. And that's a result of the success they have in the elementary level. Parents want to know that there aren't any ceilings in the development of their children, and that's a very important part of our mission in working with students.
How well has the school district done with some of the statewide or nationwide testing, No Child Left Behind?
That's a good question. We have some of the fastest growing math and science scores in the metro area. A couple of things. The No Child Left Behind just measures math and reading. This past year, our high school math scores were up again. We've had a 16% increase in our high school math scores the last 2 years. Reading district-wide, another 5-point increase this past year. So we're increasing rapidly. We've hit a first place this year, which we're very pleased about. Our ninth grade.
First place in?
The East Metro area in terms of our proficiency scores, because the state tests are all based on proficiency, so the percentage of students who are passing.
Okay.
Our ninth grade writing test, which is part of the graduation requirement for Minnesota students, 96% of our ninth graders passed that test the first time through, which ties us for the top in the area.
How do you do metro-wide then?
The metro-wide, we're still working on those metrics, but it gives you some perspective. The East Metro area, the Northeast Metro area, the 8 school districts that are north and east of St. Paul.
And those would be?
Mounds View, Stillwater, Mahtomedi, North St. Paul, Roseville, Centennial. This cluster of 8 tends to do better than any of the 25 districts on the whole east side of the Twin Cities.
Gotcha.
And what we're finding is that we're starting to move into the top 3 in that northeast metro. And when we look further, that is the whole east side of the metro area, the 25 districts, we find that the northeast metro tends to do by far better than any of those 25.
All right.
We're approaching some of the test scores in the far western suburbs, which have been the leaders. Edina and Minnetonka have been the leaders thus far. And our goal, we think, with another 3 years is that we'll be able to match performance. That is, the students who are coming through elementary now and going into middle school are going to be our leaders that are going to put us in that top handful within the metro area.
That kind of leads me into the next question. That has to do with the levy that's coming up before the voters in the White Bear School District. Now, will this levy increase people's taxes?
It will not, Tom. It's a levy, a continuation of the levy that the voters approved by a 2/3 margin in 2007. It will give us the same amount of revenue per student, and it will be the same amount of taxes that people are levied on our property taxes. So people can count on no tax increase.
Okay. What was the levy intended to do back in 2007?
Back in 2007, now that was a year before I arrived, so I know this from the testimonies of what I read and from the school board members. One thing that it was a commitment to improve class sizes, particularly at the elementary level. In 2000, before that levy passed, White Bear Lake had some of the highest class sizes in the whole metropolitan area,
Okay.
especially in the lower primary and in some classes in high school. So commitment to improve class sizes, a commitment to enrich the middle school program, which meant that we added 3 language choices for all middle school students, a commitment to move to a more rigorous curriculum and schedule at the high school level. We're at the 6-period day right now, and which is an instrumental factor in getting more instructional time on task in the core
Okay.
areas. So those plus the rigorous curriculum were key areas that were promises if that levy were to pass.
Okay. And if it does pass this time, is the district has the district set some goals for future achievement?
We have, as I've explained, our goal is to be in the top handful in terms of performance in the metropolitan area.
Okay.
Secondly, we'd like to be able to maintain our class sizes. And the other point that's important to understand is that given the state's financial condition, we do not expect increases in revenue over the next few years from the state. So we know that we're going to need to make difficult choices within our school community to continue to get better results by reducing our costs outside of the classroom. Reduce our administrative costs, reduce our support staff costs, and figure out how we can deliver education more efficiently. We have a strategic plan that the board has adopted that has some visionary, wonderful changes, but we know we need to do it at about the same level of funding.
Well, thank you very much. And once again, this is Tom Snell from the White Bear Area Chamber of Commerce program, Your Business Matters. We're going to turn you over to some of the exciting events that the Chamber has for the remainder of the program. Once again, I want to thank you all for watching the White Bear Area Chamber of Commerce, Your Business Matters. Thank you.
You've been watching Your Business Matters. For more information on this program or the White Bear Area Chamber, visit www.whitebearchamber.com or call 651-429-8593.